Gap Management Institute, building climate-ready leaders from communities to corridors of power. In the heart of Africa, millions of lives are intertwined with the land. Smallholder farmers in Uganda's fertile highlands, pastoralist communities across Tanzania's plains, fishing villages along Kenya's coast. Their livelihoods, their cultures, their futures depend on a stable climate. But climate change is rewriting the rules. Unpredictable rains, prolonged droughts, rising temperatures. The communities who contributed least to this crisis bear its heaviest burden. Yet within these same communities lies extraordinary resilience and the key to lasting climate solutions. What they need is knowledge, resources, and a voice in the decisions that shape their future. This is why Gap Management Institute exists, born in Uganda, serving Africa, to bridge the gap between communities and corridors of power, between grassroots action and global climate finance. Gap Management Institute is a proudly Ugandan institution, registered and anchored in Uganda, Kenya, South Sudan, and Tanzania, with our roots firmly planted in East African soil. From our headquarters in Uganda, we have built a network of study centres strategically positioned to serve the entire East African community and beyond. Arusha, Tanzania. Serving the gateway to East African regional institutions, Southern Africa countries, and the Safari Circuit. Mombasa, Kenya. Connecting coastal communities and the vital blue economy sector. Dubai, UAE. Our global gateway, linking African expertise with international partners and Gulf region stakeholders. We go where the need is, from the public institutions in Nairobi and Kampala to the farming communities of Kajiado, Karamoja, from the shores of Lake Victoria to the highlands of Kilimanjaro. GAP brings capacity building to the people. Our work across this vast footprint rests on 4 foundational pillars of sustainability: agriculture, land use, African communities, and sustainable financing. Because communities need access to the resources that fund resilience. We train stakeholders at all levels to access, manage, and deploy climate finance effectively, connecting global funds to grassroots impact. These 4 pillars guide everything we do, from our curriculum design to our community engagement, from policy training in public institutions to grassroots empowerment in the remotest villages of the EAC and Africa at large. At the heart of our mission lies our dedicated climate change and climate finance department, a specialised unit committed to building climate capacity at every level of society across Africa. What makes our climate department truly unique? We don't just train policymakers in capital cities. We don't just sensitise communities in isolation. We do both, and we connect them. Our community development experts are at the forefront of our grassroots work. They are the champions who ensure that climate awareness reaches the farmers, the pastoralists, the fishing communities, the women's groups, and the youth who must drive local adaptation. They can deploy to any community across Africa, bringing Gap Management Institute's expertise directly to the people. We believe that effective climate action requires capacity at every level and connections between them. That's why our training programs span the entire spectrum, and we can deliver them wherever they're needed, from community and village level to local government and county level, and finally to the national government and policy level in our study centres and select venues. This is our unique value proposition. We can train your ministry officials and public sector players to design community-inclusive climate programs, and then deploy our teams to train the communities across Uganda, Kenya, South Sudan, Tanzania, Rwanda, or anywhere in Africa to participate, adapt, and champion those programs on the ground. Our comprehensive climate curriculum is organised around our 4 sustainability pillars, ensuring that every course contributes to lasting community-centred climate action. Each can be delivered at our study centres or deployed directly to communities. Every course is meticulously researched, practically designed, and contextually relevant to East African and African realities. We don't just teach theory, we equip people with skills they can apply immediately, whether in a village meeting in rural Uganda or a ministerial boardroom in Dar es Salaam. For international climate partners, development organisations, and government agencies, engaging African communities effectively is one of the greatest challenges in climate action. How do you ensure that programmes reach the people who need them most? How do you build genuine local ownership? How do you link public sector planners with the communities they serve? Gap Management Institute is your answer. Operating across the East African community and Africa at large, we are the bridge that connects. International climate finance with community-level implementation, national climate policies with grassroots adaptation action, public sector planners with the communities they serve, and technical climate knowledge with practical community application. When you partner with Gap Management Institute, you gain access to our network of community development experts who can deploy to any location, our established relationships with local governments across East Africa, and our proven methodologies for community engagement developed right here in East Africa. We can help you design programs that communities will embrace, train local champions who will sustain them, and build the government capacity to support them long-term. While climate change and climate finance represent our flagship focus, Gap Management Institute offers comprehensive capacity building across all dimensions of institutional effectiveness, delivered from our centres in Uganda, Tanzania, Kenya, Dubai, and other select venues. Our additional training areas include public financial management, public leadership and governance, security management, office administration and records management, procurement and supply chain management, project management and monitoring and evaluation. Strong climate action requires strong institutions. From East Africa, we build both, across Africa. Climate change demands action at every level, from the village to the capital, from the smallholder farm to the International Climate Fund. Gap Management Institute is here to build that capacity at every level. Whether you are an international partner seeking to engage African communities, a government ministry in the EAC building climate-ready institutions, or a development organisation looking for a capacity-building partner who truly understands grassroots realities and can deploy directly to local communities, we are ready to work with you. Built on the pillars of sustainable agriculture, responsible land use, empowered African communities, and accessible sustainable financing. With our roots in East Africa and centres in Dubai and select venues globally, and the ability to deploy training to any community on the continent, Gap Management Institute is your partner in building a climate-resilient Africa from the ground up. Join us. Together, let's build climate-ready leaders from communities to public institutions. Gap Management Institute, bridging the gap between knowledge and action. From East Africa to all of Africa.